Yo, 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 you tuning in to the Notion Podcast. I'm your host, Dizzy D Spill. Man, it's been a little minute since I've talked to y'all, since we talked to y'all. As you can see, it's just me today, but that don't change anything. We got a lot to cover, but I need y'all to help me out. I need the viewers, I need the followers, I need you to do me a favor. I need you guys to make sure that you like, you subscribe, but most importantly, that you subscribe and you turn your notifications on at the bell. It is a crazy amount of people that are actually viewing and engaging, but not subscribing. And that's one of the things that's going to help us continue to get better with content, possibly bring guests in, and basically pay the bills. So in advance, I appreciate you. We appreciate you, but most importantly, I appreciate the people that's already subscribed. Again, it's real easy to do. It's real easy to forget, especially when you get really involved or really intrigued by the content. But make sure you subscribe. Anyways, getting into it, I hope everybody had a happy Mother's Day. There's always something in the news. There's always some drama going on. There's always something worth talking about. There's also topics that are not worth talking about. But just to get into it real quick, I thought it was interesting. It's hit the internet that Lil Wayne, yeah, that's right. Some of the people call him the GOAT. He's self-proclaimed himself as the GOAT in the past. Definitely a legendary artist. So some things came out about him kicking his fiancée and her daughter out on Mother's Day. When I first seen the clip, I mean, I know things happen. People put stuff out there. Sometimes people put stuff out there for clout. Sometimes people put stuff out there because they want to bring awareness. Everybody has their reasons. But when I seen this, I thought it was wild. I do think it's crazy to put somebody out on Mother's Day, a special occasion, especially an occasion that's going to celebrate them. But again, we don't have all the facts. We don't have the context of the situation. So we got to kind of, we got to kind of play this one by ear. But as of right now, it's looking kind of harsh for Lil Wayne as far as in how he's moving. But basically, his fiancée, I don't know her name. She came out with a video, posted it whoever got this video, saying that he had kicked her and her daughter out on Mother's Day. It's about to be her daughter's birthday a week before, and things of that nature. And she had just got done getting surgery, and so apparently she can't lift any boxes. So I guess he hired some movers. Why is this any of our business? I don't know, but I will say this. A message to the women that are dealing with entertainers, right? Dealing with entertainment millionaires. Y'all got to just make better choices. I'm not saying Lil Wayne is a bad dude. He could have had his reasons. We don't know if old girl was on some sneaky stuff. We don't know if she was cheating. We don't know. We don't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what's going on, right? What we do know is that it's all over the internet. Now, what I will say is, it does seem a little clout chasey when people get online and they want to expose somebody. A lot of people in society talk about privacy and, that's not everybody's business. But I'm just to the point now where, like, when people get online, unless it's to bring awareness or unless it's to show proof of something like a crime, when y'all get online, I'm always going to look at it as clout chasing. You gotta excuse me, I got to get some water. But yeah, I'm always going to look at it as a form of clout chasing, because why is that the world's business? Now, I'm gonna go in on Sweetheart real quick, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna go in. Because some of the things that was said, it wasn't her being kicked out. I understand her frustration with that. Again, you didn't need to go online with that and put your daughter out there too. The other thing that I thought was weird is she had mentioned, hey, let me know or DM me if you know any good lawyers. And I was like, lawyers? What do you need a lawyer for? You guys are not married. You guys don't share any assets. I don't see how or why. And, she was talking all this stuff about, she loved him to the moon and back or been holding him down or whatever. Sweetheart, we've been listening to Lil Wayne since we was 14 years old. Where was you at around that time? I don't know. The other thing, too, is dude literally came out with a male version of Irreplaceable and said, feeling irreplaceable, listening to Beyonce, okay, I'll put you out on your B-Day. When somebody tells you who they are, you better believe them. And Wayne is definitely the type of person to let you know he will put you out on your B-Day. So, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird. It came across my desk, and I was just like, wait, what? What's going on? I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know Lil Wayne was even engaged. That's just my take on it. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that one, though. I just think I think it's kind of funny a little bit, but you never know with entertainers and actors or whoever. You never know because they do a lot of things. They have a publicist to do a lot of things for publicity, shock value, anything to make themselves relevant again. You never know in this climate. You never know. Social media, a lot of people are doing some crazy things for attention. So who knows? I wouldn't be so quick to have an opinion about it because just think about your friend or your relative that's talking a lot of noise about their significant other, and then you have their back, and then like a few weeks later they back together, and now you looking stupid because you're the only one talking noise. So if I were y'all, I would try not to have too much of an opinion or pick a side, to be honest. But yeah, I thought that was weird. But we're gonna get into these real topics. One of the things that I definitely wanted to talk about that I thought was interesting was the whole situation with Kid Capri. I'm a little bit of an old head, I guess you could say, an OG. They came out with the Unc and Auntie list. I don't go off of that. It was made on social media. I'm older than social media. Whatever with that. But I guess I'm somewhat of an OG because there's a lot of people that don't know who Kid Capri is. Kid Capri is a legendary DJ. Without really any really documented records, he created the mixtape. All right. I will actually give him his credit with that. He definitely created the mixtape, and he's done a lot for hip hop. He is a very, very important individual, in hip hop culture. And he got a lot of his energy and a lot of his love from Def Comedy Jam. And you gotta excuse the focus, man. My lens is on some wild stuff tonight. But yeah, he was the main DJ for Def Comedy Jam. Him and Martin Lawrence had a great chemistry on the show. And so Kid Capri is now suing Martin Lawrence and I guess the producers of the show, Martin, whoever owns the rights to Martin, saying that he basically created the theme music for the Martin Lawrence show. Now, this was over 30 years ago. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to just be honest. I am not the biggest fan of people coming back decades later for a bag. I know that's been the trend over the past 10, 15 years. One of the first experiences I've seen this happen with was Bill Cosby. But there's something about that bothers me. And to the people that agree with that type of behavior, I mean, think about it. Would you really be okay with somebody coming back 20, 30 years later about something you did when you were 8 or 9 years old, or something you did in high school or junior high? You're not even that person anymore. I know that it could be a case-by-case basis. Some cases are severe, but I think justice and payout are just two different things. Some people think a payout is justice, but I'm not really feeling that. But yeah, he's suing Martin Lawrence, saying that, he basically produced the music. But now I just seen an interview clip where he was talking about, the part where it goes, Martin Lawrence. I guess that's Kid Capri's voice, and they use that. And apparently his take is, I never got any royalties or residuals. I never got I never cleared it or anything like that. My problem is with people that do things like this is back in that time, I feel like a lot of artists didn't know what they know now. And that's understandable because a lot of record labels and a lot of record companies wanted it that way. They didn't want the artists to they didn't really want the artists to know their rights and know what kind of power they really had. So for me, I get that you got, some knowledge, but at the same time, bro, it's like, come on, man. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you really doing, Kid Capri? Did you reach out to Martin? Did you ask if, hey man, I need some kickback? Or did you mention it back then? I don't know. I haven't seen full interviews. I'm not really interested in watching a whole interview on Kid Capri's situation because it's messy. And I do feel like in this day and age, when we take stuff to the internet to solve the problem that way, when we look for the judge in the court of public opinion, I have a problem with that. I think that's trash. I think it's borderline clout chasing. There's ways you handle that. You go to court. Now, if he went to court and then it turned into a whole situation because he went to court and now that it's public information, people decide to talk about it, that's different. But it's hard to believe that things even go that way anymore. Most of the time, these things happen because, I want some money, or, you know what, I just thought about it. Yeah, I am entitled to that. And by all means, if you're entitled to something, go for it. But, it doesn't seem like people sit down and have a conversation anymore. People are more reactive. And so I hope that gets taken care of. I guess good luck, Kid Capri, even though I think that's kind of a grimy move to wait this long and then now want to get the bag. But, we'll see. Good luck to those men as far as how that goes. Weird, man. But anyways, I wanted to get into the situation with I don't think it's a situation, but I thought it was a good conversation regarding Joy Taylor. For those that don't know, Joy Taylor is a sports analyst. I believe on one of the shows on ESPN, covers basketball mainly. And she's been in the news before because of some allegations. Somebody was a whistleblower at her network. And the allegations were about her messing around with different athletes that are now analysts and declining Skip Bayless's advances for cash. I think it's unfortunate that a lot of women have to deal with certain stuff like that. I'm not going to lie. I know people listen to our podcast, and when we have an opinion about women, especially the sisters, people get their panties in a bunch. People get their braids knotted up, or however else you want to spin it. But we do have empathy. I do have empathy. I do have sympathy for women that are innocent in a lot of scenarios. The situation with Joy Taylor, though, it's not looking good for her brand. If, even if she is telling the truth, certain publicity don't look good for her brand. Now, I gave you some backstory on who she is. What I want to talk about is the clip that's been going around and slightly going viral on social media regarding her interview with Paul Pierce. It's her, Paul Pierce, and it's another lady that's a podcaster or whatever. And they were talking about, obviously dating preferences and stuff. And she said that men that are, really into religious or super duper religious men are a red flag for her. And I kind of understand what she was trying to say, but I don't want to give any credit to that. I don't think it's our job or a person's job to try to figure out what you were trying to say. I think it's your job to word it better and to express it better. Now, we do mess up. We do get tongue-tied and stuff like that. But it kind of bothered me, and it was slightly alarming hearing something like that, because I've seen these type of statements online. I've seen these type of remarks being made on the Balloon Pop show. If you check out the Cleaning Up the Culture show that I have on Epic Lounge Network, I talk about, I'm sorry, not Cleaning Up the Culture, Thoughts of Dizzy. If you go look at that show on the Epic Lounge Network that I'm on, you will see me doing reaction videos to like the Bloom Pop. And the reason why it's so intriguing and so fascinating to me is because there's a lot of truth behind that. But not to get too off topic, what Joy Taylor's saying, that it was kind of a head scratch for me. It doesn't bother me. I don't think it even bothers most men to that degree. It's just one of those things where it's like, see, I just thought that's weird because a lot of women's standards in today's society don't come off like standards. They come off like seasonal feelings. And the reason why is because you could literally sit a whole bunch of women down, right? And they will all agree on a man got to have money or a man's height and what he can bring to the table. And, you know, the standard, the general things that most women would agree with when it comes to finding a mate or dating. The thing that makes it interesting is once you start breaking down like attributes, interests, and stuff like that, that's when all 10 women can literally run in 10 different directions. But what will happen is if the majority of the group agrees with something, then that'll sway the rest of them to agree with it too, because nobody wants to be the outsider or, you know, ostracized. But her saying that was really strange to me. It could send kind of a bad message to a lot of women that may look up to her, or just a lot of women that think that they're like-minded with her. It sends a bad message because we are living in a time where, you know, God is being taken out of everything. Now, I'm not here to preach. That's not my job. I'm not a preacher. I'm damn sure not perfect, right? But when you say that somebody's spirituality is a red flag to you, you're the red flag. In my opinion, you're the red flag. I would never say something that I disagree with is a red flag. I would just say that's not my cup of tea, or I don't roll like that. Now, she went to go on in context and talk about how it's just her experiences. They come off like this, and then they do this or they do that. Sweetheart and women, listen to me clearly. When you guys generalize something because of your anecdotal experiences, what you guys need to understand is it's not the title or the position that's being held that's the problem. It's the person mixed with their personality traits that's the problem. I'll give you an example. A lot of women, and statistics prove this too, but a lot of women think rappers, entertainers, athletes, they all cheat, they're all this, they're all that, blah, 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 whatever, right? Well, you're going off of, you might be going off of some stats, but you're generalizing based off of a stereotyping, and you're judging a group based off of that. But it's not because they're an athlete that they may be a cheater. It's not because that they're a rapper that they may be a cheater or that they may be abusive. That is a character trait, and that is a behavior problem. A job does not make you do that. Things that are surrounding that your personality is not defensive against is what it is. So we got to stop. And then on top of that, it doesn't even sound right. Imagine a dude being like, yeah, man, I like this type of woman, this, that, and the other, you know, but if she's too into God or she's too, spiritual, I can't deal with that. That has nothing to do with her. That has everything to do with you because of your personality. Maybe you're not religious or whatever the case was, but I just thought that was a weird thing. And then she had, in that same interview, she had talked about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I have my disagreements about a lot of stuff she says and how she moves, but at the same time, she does speak a lot of truth. But I guess she had explained to Joy Taylor that she was like an alpha submissive or whatever. And I just cut the video. I was just like, look, we're at a time where people are really like creating names for behavior. We're creating names for behavior to justify it and to amplify it, I guess. It's the strangest thing to me because instead of like really looking within and saying, you know what, I have some conflicting behaviors or mannerisms, we'll sit up here and we'll say I'm a this. So instead of saying, I'm a broke bum that needs to get his life together, I'll say, I am a talent in search of opportunities because of my caution of society. Man, that sounds a whole lot better. But no, that ain't the truth. You are who you are. So I don't know. I just thought that was weird. Y'all gotta let me know what you think. Y'all gotta leave y'all comments on this one. Y'all gotta talk to me. It's just me, so y'all can talk to me in these clips. I just think that stuff like that is ignorant. I think it's a very ignorant thing to say. And it's funny to me too, because a lot of women will get really, really upset when you generalize a specific thing that may affect them, but men are supposed to accept it. I don't, and I know there's double standards, and we all know in society there's double standards that we still will honor for some strange reason. But when a woman says something like, yeah, the type of, the religious type of men, just from my experience, man, that's offensive to a lot of people, man. And it's no different than a dude saying something like that about women. Like if a dude said, yeah, I don't really trust women that wear weaves, man, that dude is getting flamed, packed up, and shipped off of Instagram, TikTok, social media, all of that stuff. And the point that I'm making is when you generalize, especially when you generalize without a good point or without like clear understanding, it's terrible. You're better off like going off of statistics than generalizing based off your personal experiences, because that's what's going to make you controversial. But, some people like controversy. Some publicity, regardless if it's bad or good, is good publicity to people. So, I to women out there that say these type of things, and before y'all try to eat me up in the comments, I know that there's men, and I know out of habit, just being human beings, we generalize a lot. But I just strongly encourage to give out context. One of the things that I think is hilarious about our show is, we'll put the clip out there and then, people get all triggered and stuff like that, and go check out the full episode. Nah, I'm responding to the clip. I'm like, whatever, man, it's your loss. Ladies, we actually agree with y'all a whole lot more than you think, if you watch our show. But yeah, I just thought that's weird behavior, and I'm bringing it up only because she's not the only one. She's not the first and the only woman to say something that kind of sounds this wild and sounds like out of this, I don't know, just out of this atmosphere, man. It just gives me a clear understanding of how bad dating is, and I'm gonna be honest, to a certain degree, it's definitely a reminder of how blessed some of us are that are married or engaged or, in a long-term relationship that's going to lead to the next level. A lot of us really are blessed, because some of the problems that are preventing people from getting in a relationship or just giving somebody a chance or just trying to understand somebody's character, it's crazy. I think I'd have a terrible time dating right now. And of course, the men are going to be like, oh man, these females, you can't trust them. They act like dudes. And of course, you talk to the women, everybody plays games and everybody is cheaters. But I won't be the first, but I will be an honest person. And I'll tell you, I have friends that are single, and friends that have been single for a while, and when they talk about their experiences, it's split down the middle. Some people are enjoying their experiences and just enjoying being single, and then there are some people that are complaining. But the two things that I think both groups have in common about my friends is that they know what it takes to be in a relationship, and a lot of them are comparing their last relationship or their past experiences to the people that they just met. That's unfair to yourself, and that's unfair to that person, and it's unfair to just simple conversation. But I don't know if you guys heard the expression, but comparison is the thief of joy. I think that's how it goes, and I 100% agree with that. If you compare everything that's supposed to be a great thing or can potentially be a great thing, you are literally robbing the potential joy that could come with that or is coming with that. So all I'm saying is, having crazy standards and marking things off like that, just, oh, if they're religious, I'm not this, or if they wear a weave, I'm not doing this, or if they don't work this job, or they don't have this money, or all of these different things. When you do that and then you look up one day and be like, man, I've been single for 3 years or 5 years, or I've been single all throughout my 30s and in the beginning of my 40s. This is why, because you are disqualifying people off of somebody else's behavior. When you say that out loud and when you think about it, that's crazy. Think about that. Think about how many times somebody could have not given you an opportunity or straight off the rip judged you because of what somebody else did. Not because of what you did. And it's crazy because you could do something that reminds you of somebody. You could do something that will remind that person of somebody you ain't even met before. And you get the energy that person should have got. Or now you're having the conversation that they should have had with that person. All I know is ladies, I wouldn't go that route mindset wise. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I mean, men, we're always going to deal with that. That's why when a woman does something, whether it's your mother, your sister, your girlfriend, your homegirl, men have this thing where we be like, women, because most women do that one thing that we're talking about. So if we went off of the same scale of standards like y'all do, and we nitpicked at every single thing with women, knowing the things that we know about women that most women do, we would be unhappy. We would just, we love y'all. Women, in this day and age, a lot of women are in this thing about men hating women. We do not hate y'all. We need y'all. You guys are the best thing. It goes y'all, Xbox and video games, or recreational activities, food, and then everything else. That's how much we love you guys as far as in life experience. I know the proper order is you're supposed to love God, but we're not putting anything over God. We just saying as far as in fun experiences and necessity, we need y'all. So, from here on out, when y'all see stuff on social media thinking that we feel this way about women or sisters, y'all think we feel a way about y'all, we love y'all more than anything in the world. Get to know us and you'll understand that. But we love y'all. But if we operated like y'all do when y'all check every little box, and by the way, ladies, this is for the ones that operate like that. If it don't apply, let it fly. Anyways, if you're the type of women that does that, you will have a rough experience. And if men did that, man, if we did that, we would be miserable. Now think about that. Some of y'all are miserable operating like that. So don't go to Joy Taylor route as far as in men. You know what I'm saying? To be honest, those men that are religious and in the church and really trying to do right the best that they can, they're actually doing the right thing for their marriage and their livelihood. For those that know anything about the Bible, God blesses marriages. Blesses them a lot. You have more of an opportunity of getting blessed at the highest peak being married than not. And for those that are not married, trying to discredit that because you think it's a jab. It's not a jab at y'all, but for the record, I do believe in that, and you can't even speak on that anyway if y'all not married, so maybe you should get married. But yeah, in the Bible it definitely says that, since we're on the subject of religion. Real quick, definitely wanted to jump into the whole Rodney Hinton story. This one is interesting to me. It did boil my blood a little bit. I'm not even going to lie. Rodney Hinton is a brother that retaliated against an officer that took his son's life. So, he literally went, speaking of the Bible, he literally went an eye for an eye. And one of the things that made the story kind of blow up was there was a clip that was going around where they was walking him into the court in his jumpsuit. There's 50 cops in this courtroom. And they made him walk past the cops, and he's shaking his head, looking at him, mugging him yup, yeah, I did it, and I don't know, that whole clip was powerful. It said a lot, and it was pretty tense. But what some of the outrage was from the community, from black folks, and just from people that are familiar with the story, was they thought it was pretty shady, and they thought it was a form of an example of modern day racism, because it was a room. It was about 50 cops in that courtroom total. When the camera zoomed out, I could have easily counted 50 cops. It was one black one, a majority Caucasian, and everything else. And his family wasn't allowed in the courtroom. It didn't even look like there was anybody in there but cops. I've never in my life seen anything like that. We know there's been cases before with police officers and stuff like that, but I thought it was a sad and it was a sick situation just for society. I read some of the comments, but I didn't even want to get too deep into it because I'm not going to lie, certain comments could really piss me off. But I just thought it was deep because here you got the cops right here that, you know, are obviously mourning and upset because their brother in arms, I say that with air quotes, has been taken from them. Because this man's son was obviously taken from him at the hands of this officer. And it tripped me out because, you know, you got them on that end and you got him like, nah, I'm going to handle my business when it comes to my family. But the crazy part about it is I started wondering, because my mind goes here is like, how many of those cops have children? And how many of those cops really deep down inside feel or agree with the way he feels or what he did? Because I don't know, man. I couldn't sit up here and say that. I mean, I have people that I know that are not here anymore. And I know some people that are locked away for life that's done some crazy, heinous, disgusting things. And when I heard about those things, I kind of just looked at them different and wanted all justice to be served going to that person, despite what relationship I had with that person or those people, just simply because of how terrible it is. So I just wonder, you know, because at the end of the day, a police officer is a job, a firefighter is a job, EMT, nurse, doctor, surgeon, they're all jobs. So, you know, even though that was their brother in arms as far as in being an officer, the humanity side, the humane side of them, I wonder if they slightly understood where that father was coming from. Because I can't, if I heard a parent or I seen a comment saying that they agree with the due process aspect of it, or the you know, we got to let the courts do this, I wouldn't believe that there's a person out there that would agree with the justice system handling the dealings of somebody that took your child away from you, and you know that person did it, versus you doing it yourself. I don't. I'm just keeping it G. I don't condone violence. I'm not saying that's what he should have did. I'm just saying off of human emotion, right? And off of that relationship you have. I'm a parent myself, by the way. I don't think that a person would honestly, deep down in their heart, unless they're just built differently on a spiritual level or whatever. Now, I do think that there is a handful of people out there like that. Now, let me say that. I do believe there's a handful of people that do believe in justice and forgiveness no matter the crime. But I think it's a handful of people, because if it was more than that handful, the world would be a better place today. It would be just a little bit better, even if it was 2%. But I don't believe that any parent would operate any differently than him if they knew they were going to be successful and those were the circumstances. Now, the way this case is looking, it's turning into race. The white cops, the black offender, right? But take race out of it. I don't care what nationality you are. If anyone, cop, the president, it don't matter. If anyone did that to your child, I would have to believe, just from me being a person, that you would do the same thing if you knew that you were going to be successful with it. So I'm not saying that everybody should let this man walk, but miss me with the fake outrage, miss me with the being noble and being honest and all that other stuff. You gotta miss me with that. I don't believe you. We don't believe you. You need more people. It'll be interesting to see how this case plays out. It'll be interesting to see what people have to say. It almost reminds me of that movie with Matthew McConaughey and Samuel L. Jackson, The Time to Kill. Y'all should watch that movie. I actually watched that movie when I was going to private school in Mississippi. Why we was watching that in history class, I don't know, but it was a great movie. It was my first time seeing it. And it's kind of similar, except it wasn't involving an officer. But let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about that. Yo, what's up? Like, how do you feel? I know where a lot of black people stand, but I also know where a lot of parents stand when it comes to the situation. But how would you react? Did he react wrong? What did he do? For the most part, people are going to say why he reacted wrong. But what I'm saying is, what do you think the other option should have been for him or would have been for you if you were in his shoes? I'm definitely interested in knowing that for sure. Like I said earlier in the episode, please, if you're feeling what you're listening to on this podcast, like, subscribe, turn the notifications on. It helps us out. It helps us give you content. And I'm telling you right now, you guys do that for us, or right now, just do that for me. You have my word. I will work day and night to make sure you have some of the best content coming from the Notion podcast. Anyways, getting back into the topics. This one, I want to scratch my head. This one right here. This one is very, very annoying to me. So the woman that is going viral right now that had the GoFundMe for like over $600,000 for basically being a racist and a bigot, her name is Shiloh Henderson. And so this Caucasian woman, for you guys don't know, Shiloh Henderson basically called a 5-year-old boy the N-word at the playground because he was going in her child's baby bag, trying to get like a juice pouch or whatever the case it was. Now, I've been reading different articles about this. Some people were saying that the little boy was autistic. That's even worse. I know a thing or two about people on the spectrum. I'm close to people in my family that are on the spectrum. Little children have a tendency to, when they're on the spectrum, just go and grab something, not always aware of the consequences as a reaction. You guys should really look into autism and really learn about it. 1 in every 30 kids is being diagnosed with it. But that's what the thing that's floating around about this kid is he had autism. Let's just pretend like he doesn't. Okay. That was inappropriate. That woman was out of line. It was inappropriate. That's super duper aggressive. That could be traumatizing for that boy on the spectrum or not. That's the bottom line. That's just straight up racist, prejudice, and everything else. Now, the thing that I wanted to talk about with this story that I felt like was really sad was the man that recorded it. I can't say his name. He has a really rough name to pronounce. I feel like he might be an immigrant from Africa. He kind of has the Ethiopian look. I'll try to clip these in. I sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But basically, he was talking about how he's getting threats of bodily harm to his life. He has 5 children, and one of his kids is on the spectrum. And he says as a routine, he needs to be outside every day to get fresh air. He isn't even comfortable doing that anymore because now he's getting these threats of harm. And for me, I can't stand that about today's climate. A lot of times people ain't going to do nothing when they give these threats, but you can never, ever take that chance. And I just think, and by the way, he got doxxed for that, doxxed. For y'all that don't know, that doxxed means somebody's released all your personal information, your phone number, possibly your address, where you work, all of that stuff. So he's really in defense mode right now, and I don't blame him. I think that's awful. And I feel for his kid, that he has a routine with. They can't go outside anymore. He doesn't feel safe. I just think it's coward and just on some corny stuff, man, when you guys do this to people. And that's what sucks. That's one of the things that I hate the most about the internet is there's a lot of suckers playing gangster on the internet. A lot of people that have things to lose and are being bold because they have a keyboard that separates them. They have an IP address that separates them from you. I hope dude gets support. From what I've been hearing, there's been a separate GoFundMe. I don't know if it's for him, but definitely for the child or whatever. So that's raised some money. But, you know, while we're on the subject of the GoFundMe, I thought even that was outrageous that this woman had already set up a GoFundMe when she knows she stepped out of bounds being racist to that child. And it had raised over like $600,000, like I said at the beginning of this segment. And so I've been seeing rumors about that possibly being shut down because it violated the policies of what GoFundMe is for. So if that happened, shout out to you, GoFundMe. I love that because we shouldn't be getting rewarded for bad behavior. There's nothing that justifies that behavior. I've seen other podcasters, a couple Sambo podcasters, trying to justify her behavior and stuff like that. People that look like us, people that look like me. And I want to park right here for a minute. Man, y'all got to shut up, man. Y'all got to stop saying stuff for clicks. We get accused for posting stuff for clicks, but that's their fault if they don't want to watch the whole context and whole episode. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to do our thing. But for y'all that does that corny stuff with the clicks, you lucky I'm working on my language and my profanity because of the YouTube guidelines. My co-host ain't there, but I'm getting there. You know what I'm saying? Because how I really want to talk, what I really want to say to y'all, how I really want to get down is a whole lot different in a real way. I don't like that sector of social media where these, and this is why you have the statements of take people's podcast equipment because of the clown stuff they say. I don't appreciate when black folks, a lot of us try to negate certain things or defend certain behaviors when it comes to racism, clear racism, you know, over some small stuff. This is a child. Children are, most children are afraid of adults. You don't even really have to you don't have to say much or do much. You can give some kids a look and they damn near ready to piss on themselves. So she's out of line. And when I see black people saying, oh, well, hold on. Well, what about this or what about that? And man, miss me with all of that. Miss me with all of that. Wrong is wrong. Wrong is straight up wrong. And I had to say that because, yes, for y'all that's listening, for y'all that's watching, I did come across a couple YouTubers, and it's the same kind of group where they always find a reason to take the other side when it's clearly a racial issue with black people. And I learned that I believe that there's people out there, black folks out there that do this because as long as there's a bad guy, there's a fight, there's a story, and that's how people are getting their clicks and how they're getting their content. And the funny thing is these are people with majority black audiences, or a majority of their audience is black, and a lot of their viewers feel the same way, which is hilarious to me. A whole bunch of black people getting together to hate on black people, that's a different level. And I ain't telling y'all white folks to use that, but it is weird. You know what I'm saying? I do have to admit that. Yeah, that story, it stood out to me a whole lot because I thought it was crazy. Like I thought the whole scenario was wild. These things have always happened in life, but we're in the era now where you have proof of it. You have a camcorder in your phone, and people are just they're waiting to record any and everything. And I just think that's crazy. That woman deserves whatever is coming to her as far as in her behavior towards that child. For the parents of that child, I don't want to give too much criticism, but watch your kids. Stay close to your kids. Stay close to your kids because it's unfortunate that these things happen. It really is. It's really unfortunate that these things happen. And I do hope that she gets reprimanded. If she was working for my company, I definitely would not want nobody working for my company. I wouldn't want nobody like that living in my building, bringing drama to my establishment, my complex, or whatever home I'm renting out. She would have to like go off the grid because she's a problem. She's a she's a problem for anybody that she's connected to that's supposed to be representing them, straight up. So yeah, man, y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Correct me on those stats if or those facts, man. If her GoFundMe really got deleted and stuff like that, I really do. I hope it did. I really hope it did, man. That was just crazy, and it hit me, in a real way because I'm connected to people. I have people in my life, amazing, smart people in my life, and in my family who are on the spectrum. So I do have a little bit of soft spot for those conversations. But yeah, that was wild. Before I I'm so used to saying that, before I get out of here, I got to ask y'all, and I know my people gonna come up and they gonna have they comments and say what they want to say. Whew, man, how do y'all feel about the move Donald Trump? 45, 47. How do you feel about Donald Trump flying over Caucasian South Africans because of the racism and mistreatment they've been getting in South Africa? There's so much to unpack with what I want to say about that. But I do mean that as far as a question, like, how do y'all feel? You gotta excuse me. I got a migraine, so I gotta put these shades back on. But how do you feel about that? Like, ooh, I'll tell you how I feel. There's so much contradiction and hypocrisy in that move. I know some people have came over here as refugees and have been great citizens and contributors to society. Smart people, kind, loving people, thoughtful people from different ethnicities and races. I personally, I know, and shout out to you if you know who I'm talking about. But it was so contradicting and so much hypocrisy because we literally are living in a time where we're seeing people get kicked out of this country, get deported, get, parents, children, grandparents, friends being snatched out of homes and being basically deported. There's a thing coming out now where they're trying to work on American citizens getting deported, which means, if I'm not mistaken, and I know it's about crime, but still, it's just wild to even hear that and for that to even be a thing. But say, somebody that was born and raised in Chicago, black dude or Hispanic dude, born and raised here, and he goes down the wrong path and starts living a life of crime. Depending on those crimes, you could get deported. They'll take you and they'll put you in a prison in Panama or somewhere like that. You're no longer an American. That's wild. That is wild to me. That's a different level of insane. So yeah, that is a thing that they were trying to pass and that they're talking about. But the thing that tripped me out was this whole thing over the past 8 years, with getting certain IDs and stuff like that, is about citizenship and, protecting borders and building walls. And you done sent a plane, first class hors d'oeuvres, to South Africa, to pick up a specific group of people because of the way they've been treated. Now, y'all know, like, y'all have all of the different and what and everything that this administration has been doing regarding this topic is showing so much contradictory in this situation, and it's just flat out hypocrisy from this administration. You're not people want to say that certain things aren't about race, but I am sorry. I get on Facebook all the time and I'll see something that's controversial and I'll go to the comments and I'll see that one outraged person that is not melanated say, yeah, and black people can do this all the time, but if I do it or they do it, it's a problem, or this and that and the other. And the thing is it's like, man, there's so much that goes into that. And again, this is an example of what we're talking about. Now, if there were some people in Congress or wherever that were Latina or that were black or that were Asian, and they wanted to use resources and power for this country to go pick up a select group of people that look like them, it would be a problem. It would be a problem. And it would most likely 99% of the time get shut down. But I do think it's funny. I do think the things that have been happening in the past 5 months and with this administration have been hilarious. And, you know, instead of going down the list, I had to hit some water. Instead of going down the list and telling you that this administration is terrible and bad and la-di-da-da-da, la-di-da-da-da, it's over. Instead of doing all of that, right? I'm going to tell you this. Candace Owens, the queen right-wing sister, black lady, woman, or whatever you want to refer to her as, right, has jumped ship. Not feeling this administration. She put in all of that mouthpiece over the past few years and jumped ship. Now, I respect it. She's you got to admit that you're wrong. I respect the fact that she ain't going to sit up there and can try to continue to believe something that she probably never believed in. But, hey, but you still got to get this work, sweetheart. You still got to get this work from public opinion because you were the loud one. You were one of the loud ones. If you wasn't so loud and you wasn't so eager to Sambo it out, probably just leave you alone. Probably give you the juicy smouye treatment. You know what I'm saying? Where we just be quiet because we know you was lying. But nah, you were the loudest one, so now people going to come for your helmet. But I'll start with Candace Owens with this administration. She jumped ship, right? But then there's the people that still are holding on strong to them cheap egg prices that they waiting to come. Look at it like this. Has the price in food and eggs and everything else dropped? Nah. Is there more money in your account? Nah. Did your boy Elon, Big E, did he slide y'all any of them stimulus checks or any of that $5,000 or any of that hit y'all account because they found all this extra money that we had available after they raided our privacy? Y'all get that money? Nah. Are things actually better? Gas prices and, things like that. Has that gotten better for you? Is things more cheaper than last year? Things more available, more calm, more collective than last year? I don't think so. How them tariffs working out for you? I say all of this because we already know this administration has stirred up more racial conflicts than probably the past 4 administrations. We know that. This has been the most controversial in my lifetime. As far as in race and hatred, it's been the most for me. But what do you have to say now? And it's only 6 months into the year of a 4-year term. Just talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Leave your comments. Let me know. Now, some of you guys are going to be smart, have a smart comment and say, oh, I got this because of this. Okay, I got a better one. I'm going to give you a challenge. To the people that still agree and still support this administration and the decisions that are being made, give me 3 to 5 things that this administration has done that everyone in this country is benefiting off of. that is noticeable too. Don't give me no BS just to have a right answer. Give me something effective that is benefiting all of us right now, financially, health-wise, hell, just true, real peace of mind, not personal peace of mind, but that we can all agree on. Like the sun not blowing up. I think we would all agree that we'd be okay with the sun not blowing up, right? Something like that. Something that's undeniable, right? Yeah. Give me that. My personal take on it, here's my thing, man. I've said this to many people. Donald Trump is not a president. He never has been a president. Donald Trump is a businessman, and he was not running for president. He played y'all. For those that are mad that he's in office and for those that voted him in office, he tricked both groups. He was never running for president. Donald Trump was running for CEO. Donald Trump is a businessman. The majority of the things that he is doing right now in this country are business moves. So that's why when you hear people that are analysts or people that are money experts and all of these different titles, when they say that this is a time where you can make a lot of money or lose a lot of money, because they are looking at this whole political administration from a business standpoint. His administration is his board of directors and employees and team members and assistants and vice presidents and stuff like that. We are this is a business now. America is officially a business right now under this administration. And that's where y'all are getting played at. And what do you do when you're in business? You tell the customers and the consumers. Your customers might know a little bit more because they've been dealing with your product. But your customers, or I'm sorry, your client knows. But your customers are the people that you're trying to make into clients. And we, the American people, are customers and clients. And so what do you do with a customer in order for them to believe in your product? You hype things up. You go crazy on marketing and advertising and all of these different perks and things that are soon to come. That is what a business is supposed to do. That's marketing and advertising. And that's what happened to all of y'all that voted for dude. But guess what? Do you have the product? Is the product doing what it was doing in the commercial? Are you really going to get money back or guaranteed? That's my question. So my final thought on what I think about Trump, sometimes I even think the whole race baiting things that he does is just good for publicity. Remember, he is a businessman. The only thing I take seriously that this administration has done and is continuing to do, and what I believe their only focus is on doing, is business. I think when he says crazy stuff, it's just to keep the thing going. Business. So even with him making the move that he made to go get his people from Africa, let some other group or some other country, some other a group of people. And this matter of fact, they've been doing it for years. You know, when people from Mexico and different countries and refugees come over here to get a better life, yeah, Trump, you're doing the same thing. They just didn't come in on a jet. They came in running their ass off and trying to make a way, but you sent over hors d'oeuvres. You know what I'm saying? And got those people. I just look at that and I, like I said, I look at the people that voted for him, and I look at the people that were not really paying attention. And even if you didn't vote for him, you didn't really pay attention to the direction he was going with all of this stuff. Dude is on his business hype. Dude is going to run this thing like a business, and we will pay the bill on it. And our children and our grandchildren will pay the bill on it. Now, I suggest people tune into the Boss Talks, or I might even have some financial segments that I give y'all on some dolo stuff. But that's what this play is right here. that move that he made, bringing those people over here, we should look into the list of names, see if they're engineers, seeing if they're oil, they got oil, seeing if they're rich, whatever the case is. I haven't done that much digging, but there's a reason for it. One thing Donald Trump is, regardless of how people feel about him, he is a businessman, straight up. And that was a business move, just like every other move he's going to make and what he's been making are being business moves. Now, do I agree with any of it or a lot of it? No, I actually don't. I am not a fan of Donald Trump. I don't have anything personal against the dude because I don't know the dude. And I have a lot of criticism that I could go in on him about. But my thoughts on him is he is not a president. Do I think he should be in that role? No. But that dude is not a president. He's a businessman. And when he was running to be the CEO of the United States. Y'all can take what y'all want to take from that. You can disagree with it. Y'all can get mad in my comment section. All I'm going to do is delete your comment so I can win the argument. I'm just joking. I welcome the debate. We welcome the debate on the show. So, yeah, definitely let us know what you think. Crazy times, man. Crazy times. And we'll see what we get out of it. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. You've been tuning into The Notion Podcast with your boy, Dizzy D. Spill. You know what to do. If you enjoy our content, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow. However you're tuning in, please follow us or like us or subscribe us and turn those notifications on so you don't miss any of the great content and great conversations that we have. We really appreciate you. We appreciate those that are new. We appreciate those that have been rocking with us. Everything is moving in a good direction. But anyways, I'm finna get out of here. Until next time, peace.